Peace to the family. Trying to wake the people up, let people know that crunk ain't dead, nor is your soul. We is in this thing. And my goal for this video is to be as clear, as concise, and as matter of fact in referencing Mercury Retrograde, being that it's the first Mercury Retrograde of 2020, and referencing all astrological concepts. It's best to redo it, rethink about it, and deal with it from an atomic base human understanding, not a personality level. So the key thing to versus my astrology versus the inundation of astrology on the internet is based upon I've been doing astrology and paying attention to astrology for a very long time. If you just look at my YouTube channel, you will see that every 2 weeks I've documented the new moon and the full moon. Every single one is since 2016. And not saying that to brag or boast, it's just something that I really care about and pay attention to. We all drive cars. Not all of us make cars. So there's a relatability to astrology that we all share, but some of us care about the details and can explain the details and how it represents in our everyday. And I say all of that to say that Mercury retrograde has turned into one of the major topics in referencing astrology. Like, that's what people talk about, you know, Mercury retrograde this, Mercury retrograde that. And it's based upon a desire that one has that people usually see, like, oh, I'm not getting that desire that I want. So let me pay, it must be Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde becomes to be an excuse for negative things that happen 365 days a year. But, you know, the 100 days that Mercury goes retrograde, which is a lot, begins to be an excuse or a reason for negative things to happen. So it's like people who discuss astrology on their YouTube channels and things of that nature. They have driven cars, they understand cars, but they haven't put cars together and broke cars down and put the tires on and know about the axle and know about all of that. And that's just the facts of the matter. So it takes a while to get to a level of understanding. I'm 36 years old. I did my first astrology chart because when I had to do my astrology chart, I couldn't just go online because the internet didn't even exist. It was, well, in modern terms, it didn't exist. It was 1994 when I did my first astrology chart, and I had to do it with an ephemeris, meaning that I had to look at every planet and where it was on that particular day, August 23rd, 1984, to get a semblance of my astrological chart. Fast forward to 2020, where you can just put some shit into a computer and it's all laid out for you. It gets to be something that is seemingly easy to understand and easy to grasp because of the personality surrounding astrology signs, but the personality does not drive the astrology. Like, just because I know how to drive a car, if all of the creators of cars disappeared, then therefore I wouldn't be able to drive a car any longer. And I say all of this to say that astrology is not based on your personality. I was listening to the Breakfast Club and Charlemagne was referencing a Cancer, and he said, "Oh, you emotional. You like a Cancer." I'm a Virgo and I'm emotional as hell. What are you talking about? Like, I know Aries that are emotional. I know Aquariuses that are emotional. I know Sagittarius that are emotional. I know every single person has an emotional frequency. So, oh, you're a Leo, so that means that's not astrology. That's horoscopes, and that's what proves astrology wrong. Astrology is planting a seed when it's the right time to plant the seed and watching that seed grow. Astrology is atomic divination. That is now agriculture. That is now government. That is now the Navy. That is now the military. That is now a computer. That's astrology. Atomic root concepts that lead into manifestation is not personality traits. So we start off the Mercury retrograde and referencing that any sufficiently advanced technology is extinguishable from magic. And when we reference the individual, we are referencing magic, point blank, period. What can you manifest? What can you attract in your vibration without you paying for a class, without you going to a lecture, without you listening to a YouTube video, without you doing anything in this moment? What can you do to manifest and attract your desire? Without you buying my book, without you supporting me in any way, what can you do in this moment to manifest your greatest desire? What is the how-to? See, nobody's gonna give you the how-to because everybody is based upon a personality level. So this week on my channel, I'm dealing with the atomics of the human body, and that's the fuck it. I don't care about what you're manifesting. I only care how you're manifesting it. I've built up a large repertoire of information and cataloged all of this shit. Astrology Explained, and then the YouTube videos. And it's a lot of information. That's why I cataloged it. So when you get time and space and energy and effort to learn about your human body through astrology, through mysticism, then you begin to enact it in the moment. You don't need anything else. Why would I want you to rely on me? Why would I want you to support me? That don't even make sense if I'm a spiritual being. I realize that when we buy into certain shit, we're not supporting ourselves. We're supporting the person who's presenting the information. And that could be great for that person. And that person may need support for putting in his work and dedication. But at the end of the day, if we're not able to apply and bring that shit home with us, bring that shit into our family, bring that shit into our workplaces, bring that shit into our career, what's the point of it? If we still are in our funk, in our slumber, in our stupor, in our ignorance, but everybody's deep and everybody's dropping, then there's something missing. And this all comes to me based upon my reflection on my journey. When I used to listen avidly to a lot of conscious speakers. But throughout my whole entire life, I can't say that it helped me. I would still be at work, or, you know, maybe it did help me, but I know what did actually help me, you know, and absorbing knowledge is absorbing knowledge. And there is nothing that you can do when you absorb in knowledge. So you might take the L when you absorb in knowledge, but say for instance you want to succeed, say for instance you want to grow, then there's no more observing, there's only exuding. Once I started my YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel wasn't a viral sensation right off the bat. I probably put out 137 videos to 50 subscribers. So it wasn't never about subscribers more than it was exuding my power. And then I met my wife, and then, you know, I started to heal my family, and then I started to succeed, and then I started allowing prosperity into my life. But all of this was based upon my actions. It was never based upon me listening to niggas. Listening to niggas was great, but when it came to a major shift in my environment, it was never on a guided meditation. It was on a guided direct action towards my greatest success. And all of this ties into Mercury retrograde, but I'm just giving you background. So when it comes to manifesting, let's use the analogy before we move forward and deal with the astrology, so you're not confused about this shit and you confused, well, how do I manifest this shit, Hood Mystic? It's very simple. Just imagine yourself as blowing a balloon. And if you blowing a balloon, You can't do shit else but blow that balloon. You can't really even walk and talk. You can't do nothing. You can only blow up the balloon. You can't tell people, hey, yo, I'm blowing up a balloon. You can't do it. You can only function as blowing up the balloon. And once you tie it up, wrap it up, and it's presented, it's fully manifested as a fully blown balloon, then you can talk about it all day long. Look at this balloon I blew up. Isn't it just the most beautiful balloon you ever saw in your life? And why are you saying that, Hood Mystic? Why are you bringing up that analogy? Because a lot of niggas talk about themselves blowing up the balloon as if they're blowing up the balloon, but the reality is you can't blow up the balloon and talk about you blowing up the balloon at the same time. You either blowing up the balloon or not. You either manifesting or not. You could talk about it, but you're not manifesting and talking about it. You're either doing it. So this is the primal, kinetic, atomic route to action, manifesting, and it works and is right and exact, but you've been so inundated with bullshit that you can't even see how easy and simple this shit is. So let's deal with the Mercury side, and tomorrow we'll deal with the Mars side, and we'll combine these two energies together on Wednesday. So like I said, we're going to be small, concise, and very clear. So I see a question that's referencing astro readings. So since we're on Earth and we reference the planets, we imagine that the planets are the same type of spatial continuum as the Earth. But when we reference the Earth, whether it be through science or NASA, when we reference the planets, they say that these are gas light forms. These are gaseous forms of light, and they're not actually have no Earth on them. So it's not like the Earth. These are wayward planets that are portals, one would say. Portals to our chakras, to our divinity, and our connection to the celestial. So when it comes to astral realization, you have to stop thinking that the planets are outside of you, because even though they may be outside of you, your connection to them are based upon your chakras. So when we reference the planets, we're referencing the chakras. Because the planets outside, they're not like Earth. They're not like land and people walking around like, hey, what up, brother? No, they're gaseous. They have like more of a etheric buildup of energy that now creates a form of light. And are even mere referencing and mentioning and understanding and identifying them throughout ancestral time represents something that is within us before the internet. Okay? These things were mentioned and referenced. There's whole R&B songs dedicated to the energy of the astrology, meaning that I was just sitting down there and the energy of Venus just came to me to add it into this doo-wop song. He wasn't online referencing none of that. That energy was within him or her, whoever wrote the song. Age of Aquarius by the Fifth Dimension. They wasn't on the internet doing research to come up with those lyrics. Obviously, there was a reference to astrology in their DNA throughout the information that was passed it out throughout time, through the Bible, through the Bhagavad Gita, just the Quran, every occult religious book is based some form of astrology. So we're not talking about nothing distant. We're talking about something that's within. So when you reference astro and astro projection and all of that stuff, and you want to go far, my thing is to go deep within to really find those questions. So when you reference Mercury, we're referencing the communicator of truth. Truth is based on action. Truth is based on the moment. Truth is not based in the past. I thought you loved me. I did love you a lot, but now I don't. You ever felt that before? The truth is, as the moment goes, and the trouble with the truth is that people imagine the truth to be some stagnant thing, but the truth is fluidic. So when we break down the energy of Mercury, we dealing with the energy of Quicksilver. We dealing with the energy of malleability, of liquid metal. You know, you look at Marvel, Quicksilver is moving fast, doing everything super fast, you know? Nothing about Mercury, nothing about Quicksilver is stagnant and hard and rigid and strong. I thought you loved me. I did loved you. I just don't love you. Because in the moment, you aren't bringing no love up out of me. So I did loved you. That's a fact. But love is something that I don't understand in the context of me and you. I don't understand the information. I love Joe videos. You just don't love them now. But that's Mercury. And as Mercury goes retrograde, that truth is giving us every insight, every positive thing that could happen, but is only found in the present. So a person will say, well, I never was successful. People never did like me. Anxiety rises up. It takes you out of your electromagnetic field. But the idea is that we're dealing with Sidereal Aquarius. And if you look at the video that I did for Aquarius and the esoteric astrology, where we're really focusing in on the heart and the electromagnetic field and how powerful it is based upon the attraction. And it's not to say the things that I'm attracting in my life is the shit that I'm even asking for. I've grown above and beyond asking spirit for direct things. Because why limit myself? My wife could bear witness. Why the things that's manifesting for us, we could never even have asked for. We wouldn't even think in a million years that was even possible of a thing to ask for. So maybe we tier it and say, oh, let me start small or something to that effect. Why? Why not trust in your heart in this electromagnetic field and trust the truth that comes in the present moment as it comes and live in that? Why worry what happened yesterday? Because, man, it's an illusion. Yesterday is a mere illusion. It's a phantom. It's a shadow. It's a mist in the past that you want to hold on to. That's perfectly fine. But in this present moment, there's opportunity, ability, magnetism, and all of that, based upon the cosmic shifts and the tides changing. But that's Mercury in its essence. Mercury is like Quicksilver. Mercury is doing a lot of different things at once. It goes forward, it goes backward, it conjuncts with the sun as it goes retrograde. It can catch up to the sun when it goes direct. You know, it can do a lot. Very ambidextrous, that truth. See, but if we think truth is one stagnant thing, I'm supposed to be with you forever. I'm supposed to hate this job forever. I'm supposed to hate this town forever. I'm supposed to deal with my family shit forever. I have to deal with this family shit. I have to have this negative vibration when it's pertaining to this, that, and the third. Unlike Mercury, unlike Gemini, unlike Virgo, unlike the ability to be analytical and judgmental within the moment. Within the moment, you have different insights than would be if you pertain into a past event. And that's just the facts. So if we're focusing on our electromagnetic field in the moment, where our resonance and our awareness is not directed to our mind and the bullshit 50,000 thoughts that don't even never matter to nothing, all random dumb shit, and bring our resonance, awareness, and consciousness to our heart and invigorate our electromagnetic field with positivity, bliss, success, whatever, you name it. and then radiate that energy. Your electromagnetic field propels upon your being 3 to 6 feet in all dimensions. So when you walk, you either attract love or you repel the thing that you don't want. You become a force within yourself. And this is very different from walking around thinking in your head, do he like me? Am I cute enough? Is this dress, is my ass fat enough? Da-da-da-da-da, okay? Da-da-da-da, dumb shit, okay? Based upon the resonance of the electromagnetic field. So when we get into manifestation, when we get into peace, and we get into bliss, it's simply about awareness to what you are focusing on as a soul, because you are not a human body. The human body is a vehicle, a vessel, a device for the soul to function and operate through this realm in. You are an avatar. You are a playable game character. There are two versions of you. There is the immortal being that does not live, does not die, but simply exists and administers. That is what awareness is. So whether you're in this body or another body, whether you're rich, you're poor, white, black, man, woman, there's that same resonant awareness. And when you are focused in on your thoughts, you think that you should be objecting yourself to whatever the car or whatever the channel or vessel should be subjected to. Am I cute enough? Am I manly enough? Am I fitting into society standards well enough? Am I practicing the law? Do I got all of the knowledge do I need? You know, am I good enough? But your mere awareness is divine from the soul, immortal, will exist with you past death, through death, and into reincarnation again, because you don't get it. You think that you are the vessel. You think that you are the body. You think that you are your relationship. Okay? You are your soul. You are your awareness. You are your consciousness. You are directing the body. The body is just a mere vehicle. So, when it comes to attracting and manifesting the things that you need, that's already taken care of for you. Why? Because there is no actual device for manifesting the best thing for you. What is the best thing for you? How do you know that's the best thing for you? You don't know. All you know is what works and what is powerful, and then you know what is holding you back. So the quote is, one lie can ruin 1,000 truths. The lie that you are a man, woman, child ruins everything for everybody, period. And there's no moving forward from that. There's only reincarnation from that. Oh, my family. Oh, my personality. Oh, my human shit. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. How are we going to make it out of this? How are we going to make this better? What about the racial stuff? Okay. Cry, cry, cry. Nobody is dealing with the truth that our awareness and our consciousness is the truth of this thing. And it's not something that I'm creating. We could go deal with the Hindu. We could deal with any religious thing, you know, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to bring about it, you know, whatever questions you have for me on this whole understanding of astrology, on this whole understanding of esotericism, because that's what I'm about. So with this channel, with my conversations, I'm not going to talk about much else. I'm not going to deviate from what I'm about. I'm not going to try to be popular or in the know. You know? I'm going to be on truth. I'm going to be doing these lives because these lives represent the moment. Whatever I say, I can't take back. And a lot of this is not, I try to plan, I try to prepare, but past that is just a divine channel. So once you hear on the live, you hear in the moment. You know, you can catch these in the future, and it's probably still powerful. You can catch these, a year from now, and it's still probably powerful, but nothing more powerful than the moment of having these live transmissions and these understandings. And we're not dealing with astrology from a personal horoscope trying to view. We're dealing with it from a soul primordial conscious awareness point of view, because the creator is you. You just forgot that you was the creator because you're lost in reincarnation. You think that you're a human body. You think that you're a history book. You think you some abstract deity or goddess. But you are mere awareness, all knowing, the creator of all, the destroyer of all. So to understand Mercury retrograde, it starts off ahead of the sun, but by March it will be behind the sun. It will meet up with the sun and then catch up to the sun and move past the sun. So within that, there is a lot of things that can happen between our truth. Our truth can be very different. So what tends to happen during Mercury retrogrades is that we already know our truths. We know that the meeting is at 6:15 on the 27th. We know that the mail should be coming at a certain time, and all of these things either get delayed or held up, and things happen, and it's like, oh my God, I'm going crazy. My truths are all distorted. Now, but once we realize that the truth is very fluid, very ambidextrous, can be multiple things, then it's easier to understand. And then the easiest thing to do during this Mercury retrograde is just to simply listen to what the soul has to say. And the easiest way to listen is to stop acting like everything is doom and gloom or great and glorious. Just be nothing for a second and simply listen. And then once you listen, act, and you'll surprise yourself. When you're ready to speak, speak. Because speaking is another form of action, is another form of attention, it's another form of magic. Speaking things into existence from the soul. And this is why it takes you to be an advanced person. Because I was watching Lock and Key, and one of the main things that I seen in Lock and Key when they were speaking to like magical abilities and things of that nature, why it's very important for a person to be somewhat sovereign, neither an adult nor a child, but beyond both of those particular constructs. Because a child is thinking that when I get this magic, I'm gonna go buy me some ice cream. Because that's what the little dude did when he first got the keys. He went straight into ice cream. And it's just like, that's what a lot of adults, like, soon as they get their magical powers, it's like, how can I get me some ice cream, or their personal version of ice cream? Okay? So adults is too inundated with the bills, the responsibilities, the chores, the maintaining of the house, that they don't give a fuck about magic and speaking things into existence at all. That's just done. It's just the end of the story. So beyond both of those levels is the realm of the magician, the realm of Beth, the realm of Mercury, the realm of listening to our higher divine of Kether. Kether is the primordial space of potential. And we have to be aware of that. We have to be cognizant of that and bring that forward. And that's not found in the space of knowing. So when the question is, how do I? You do it through singular force of action. There is no passive way to manifest. Because if you passively manifest, then you fooling yourself. So how to handle the retrograde? Be transparent. Transparent is a way that you channel the divine. People are so full and filled with their intentions and their ignorance and their folly that they are not transparent, because they'll do anything to manifest that which they desire, which turns them into evil people, which creates the negative connotation of Mercury or Cupid or arrows, and or the so-called devil or, you know, demon, things of that nature, because people are so caught up in their personal desires that they would do anything for money. They would kill you for money. They'll do anything, because they're so depraved of their soul understanding. They're so depraved of their soul self. And it goes good and bad. It just depends on how aware are you to the energy. So how transparent are you when you speaking? Are you speaking from the present? Or are you speaking from the past? Are you speaking from desire? Or are you speaking from intention? Some things that we'll talk about tomorrow. I did a new moon a long time ago, and it was called the prism. This will be something that can help people in understanding the idea of channeling or being a vessel, and understanding the prism theory. Yeah, the prism theory. Just type the prism theory hood mystic to get a deeper understanding of what I'm referencing. Because if you just simply relax and be clear and then act upon that transmission, it'll be very, very simple. But if you think you know it all, you think you got it figured out, you more closed off and you more, you know, opaque than you are transparent, and you not really fully understanding the retrograde. And that's where you get the memes and the retrograde is kicking my ass because I already know what I'm supposed to do, but I really don't know because I'm just acting out on my desires. Because this process is not mental or planned. The Mercury is going retrograde, and it's not something that is just a mere fact of observation. Mercury is going in retrograde. It's just what it's doing. It's just our perception of it. It's just the fact of the matter. The same way that the sun would rise, we'd be like, damn, the sun is rising. We wouldn't be like, oh, you fake. What are you talking about? You don't know that the sun is rising. Prove that the sun is rising. Oh, it's a belief structure. I wouldn't get into that belief structure, brother. You know, Mercury ain't retrograde. That don't got nothing to do with nothing. That's some old hocus pocus stuff. The sun is rising. Where you come up with that at? Nah, it's just a fact of nature. It's just a realization. So in fully understanding what Mercury is, please look out my Mercury Explained video. Understand what Mercury is. So when it goes retrograde, Mercury is the sperm. The sperm is not a nasty little freaky thing. It's your human body. It's the human vessel. It is actually the vehicle for the soul. And it starts off as a little squiggly thing, and then it grows up to be a full human being. That's its dual purpose. It could be the seed and root and manifestation to whole life. Now, I'll give you a question. Could you actually form and create a baby with your hands? No, you can't do it. You have to actually do something pleasurable, which is have sex. Imagine to be pleasurable, which is have sex. And then you impregnate a woman, and then over a 9-month incubation period, and then a natural birth process, and then a natural growth process, and then you find out that child's innate abilities. None of this is by your conscious mind, my friend. And that's the most magical, profound thing that ever happened in existence, was birth in the vehicles of the soul and all of that. A whole civilization built upon human beings. This is the most magical thing, and this is all Mercury. And when I'm saying manifestation is not a mental or planned thing, like, you just wanted some booty. You ain't want no whole LeBron James as a son. You ain't want no whole, you know, rocket physicist, surgeon general as a daughter. You just wanted some booty. You ain't want the world changing divine spiritual leader to manifest on this plane to bring about world healing. You just wanted some ass. So when we talk about manifesting, it's just about staying in a blissful, positive space and trusting the process of planting a seed and watching it grow. See, this takes time to understand this process, but this is right and exact. It's not about all of the mental things that people pertain themselves up with. Oh, how can I do this? Oh, how can I read this? Oh, I took this class. I did this process. I did this. I did that. I did this. I did that. Okay, you've retained, you absorbed, but what is your action about? What is your intention about? And a person will be like, well, I really don't do stuff because when I do stuff, I don't get the results I want. Ding, 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 ding. Come on down. You done won your prize. For the price is wrong, my nigga. You focusing on your results and not focusing on your actions, so your manifestations is always going to be a little jaded and turned off. Because the results is never desirable. Everybody wants more results than what they initially get. So therefore, it's more or less of being the best person that you could be. And John telling me to move on. Good morning. So on top of this, today we have the moon square Mercury. The moon is in the third decan of Scorpio. And a square represents a tension, but it also represents a major challenge. When we meet those challenges, we have our major breakthroughs. And so this challenge is more of esoteric because the moon is in Scorpio, and that's really water. Mercury is in Aquarius, that's air. So we're not really dealing with things that are actual and factual, more than the mental, emotional plane. So let's just try to understand this at a deeper level. So like I said, the moon is going to be at the third decan of Scorpio. And so when we reference Scorpio, we're saying intensity, we're saying intention, and we're saying magic. But when we're saying magic, we're saying magnetic. If you take the net out, you get net. If you remove the net from magnetic, you just get magic. So you get net magic. You get your result of magic through all your actions and intentions and results, and whatever you get out of that is your magic. And intentions can be very skewed based upon past understandings and present fears. So what could actually happen today is dependent on how about it you is towards your emotional frequency, how expansive you could be towards your emotional frequency. If you could accept the fact that, you know, anger and peace are choices and not facts of life, then you could really take your shit to a whole nother level. But if you feel like there's nothing that you can deal with but shame or guilt or grief or fear, and not understanding the choices that you're making in those understandings, then you'll be held back into them same spaces. And there's nothing that anybody can particularly do for you because your awareness is what your awareness does. So those dark negative thought forms that you are hell bent on preserving and, you know, maintaining and nurturing and feeding and all of that shit, you'll attract that same energy. Because we're dealing with a square, we're dealing with a challenge, we're dealing with a symbiosis of understanding. So what you're trying for and what you're trying to attain is something, especially in the esoteric realm, it'll just be like, well, how do I stand up? How do I walk? How do I do this? How do I do that? You can't necessarily explain that to human beings. You could just simply say you either know it or you don't. You either got it or you don't got it. I can't teach that. That's not something that you teach. You don't teach the central nervous system to people. The central nervous system is, or the central nervous system ain't. So the things that you can do is simply choose peace, choose joy, choose love, choose reason, choose acceptance, choose to raise your vibration. Hold that resonance and trust that you attract that resonance in your outer frequency, as above, so below. But understand that, there's going to be a lot of energy moving into the next week. We're moving into a new moon. So as the new moon rises, the melatonin rises, the media begins to go back into its trick bag. I think it's a funeral on the new moon. I could be mistaken, but I know I'm not. And beyond the funeral, there are going to be some current events that come up that trigger the masses into more hysteria, more sadness, more fear. Because the media, the mass media, they're studying this astrology the same way I'm studying it. They're studying as I'm getting breakthroughs. I'm sure the higher collective consciousness is getting breakthroughs in the things that I'm putting together. And not to be like, oh, pat myself on the back. But I'm telling you, there's nothing that they can do to you once you realize that you're immortal. Once you step out the game, you out the game. You're not playing the game no more. And the whole thing that they got people into is a whole full out game. Because when you reference who's in charge of everything, they'll reference the black nobility. Last time I checked, we was the only black people in this goddamn game. So the trick is that we the nobility and we in control. And the reality is that we just don't know we in control. And we don't know how to garner those controls because we think that the controls is some external modality. We think that the controls is some governmental position, some financial status, some accumulation of wealth and all of these things. But we don't understand that enlightenment within our nobility and our immortal self is what they fear amongst all things. So if they can pull you down to an emotional state of sadness, anger, that's the whole game right there. Because we dealing with magnetic fields. And like I said, magnet and magnetic is just another word for magic. So a simple way to get through this, a simple way to understand this energy, and I'll finish with this and open up the phone lines, is choose your radio station. If they playing you got attention, John. You got some attention. Hi. Yeah, if you that's his thing now. So he don't want me to get this part in, but I'm gonna get this part in whether he like it or not. If you got a frequency you want to be on, if you got a manifestation you want to be on, it's the same as sitting in the car and listening to a radio station. If you want to hear those vibrations, then you tune into it. If you want to change it, you change it. And if you feel yourself not feeling the station, then change the station. You, towards the end, you get really beyond yourself. You really do. Over a phone. Like, yeah, you. But once again, it is live and the vibrations is live, and understanding that, to just surmise and get back to my point, if we're able to focus in and tune in to the vibration that we want to attract and hold that resonance, nothing can hold us back from that. What tends to happen is that media, the ignorance of our thoughts, the ignorance of our society focus us into thoughts that are not relative to the soul. And when we talk about fear, when we talk about lower vibrations, that's not relative to the soul vibrations. And when we try to imagine our highest good, we try to imagine that we could actually imagine our highest good, but we don't have any modality to imagine our highest good. We can only imagine our highest frequency, and how that frequency will encase itself around us is something that we just don't know. You don't know where bliss comes from. Bliss is very surprising. So my thing is, allow yourself to be surprised today by holding a particular resonance of peace and joy. And when people try to pull you out of that peace, or when you try to pull yourself out of that peace, simply recognize it and understand it, that this is what's happening, and then remain and then raise yourself back up, because you're making a choice to stay peaceful. That choice comes with an automatic uh thing to try to pull you out of it. Peace, enlightenment, joy, love, all of these things raise the vibration. So with that being said, that concludes my little presentation and my little Mercury retrograde rant. But tomorrow, I'm gonna definitely be back with more information towards Mars and dealing with this thing at an atomic level. But I will open up the chat and read some of these comments. Be sure to call in at 385-799-9560. Now, if you call, by the time y'all hear this, it probably will be set up, but I'm setting it up now. So peace to the family. I'm about to get into these comments too. How was everybody's weekend? Like, what y'all got planned for the week? Like, what's really good with the family? Like, and then call in, like, say anything. Just be like, Hood Mystic, I just called in and say, what's up? What's up? Peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, show some courage. And my phone system is loading up, so if you call in, peace to Sapphire, peace to Queen Beauty, peace to Empress, peace to Goddess. And I'm still, and they kind of shading me on this whole situation. They not allowing me to kind of start it up like I usually start it, but hopefully y'all patient, and then y'all can kind of leave comments in the chat, and I can read the comments in the chat. Does the energy of Tahuti, or can't read that. What happened? Does the energy of Tahuti or Haru have anything to do with this time? I think the energy of Tahuti or Haru have everything to do with every time of every day, of every minute, of every second, because they're referencing parts of your inner being, parts of your inner understanding and your conscious awareness. So Tahuti is a, I haven't done the full esoteric understanding on Egyptian mythology, but what I have taken to why is a powerful tool is because they're talking about the human body and understanding the human body and deifying the human body. So I know for a fact that Haru is our conscious understanding, while Saturn is our, I mean not Saturn, but Set is our pituitary gland, and and that's why our conscious awareness and our pituitary gland are constantly at war, and it's a balance, and then they kind of have to work together, and that's a whole large conversation. But to answer your question, Danielle, I feel as though that the Egyptian deities and things of that nature are always around and always available. They really player hating on this, so might not have the do you do personal readings? I do personal readings. If you check the link in the description, it's like readings and then testimonials, and I mean, you could get any reading. You could get like a 15-minute reading, you know what I'm saying? Like to just start off, like whatever. You don't have to make such a huge investment in a reading or whatever. It just basically depending on you, whatever you comfortable with. So I got the call up, so it's 385-799-9560 if you kind of want to shoot a little shout out. And it looks like I got somebody on the line, so give me a second to get on there, caller, and we gonna chop it up. Computer audio.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. There is one other participant in the conference. Please announce yourself.
217, you tapped in with the Hood Mystic. Who am I chopping it up with today?
What's up, man? It's Jazz, man.
What's up, Jazz?
Hey, what's going on? I want to say that Saturday I was eating breakfast with someone, and we started talking about frequency and energy, and they brought up the point that they were listening to Michael Jackson earlier in the day, and they listened to Thriller. And on the song Thriller, I think Michael Jackson said, change that number on the dial or change the frequency somehow within the song. And so, just like giving the point, the idea that we have the option to change our frequency, and how it resonated because, we had this conversation on Saturday, and I told you kind of late, we're going to listen to you, and we kind of like, we're on the same vibe of changing the frequencies and the thoughts and just changing our mindsets around life. So with that being said, so does social media have a direct effect on us as far as our frequencies and the things that we absorb, though, as far as what we listen to and watch, or what people post, though?
It depends on if you're productive. If you're unproductive and you're just absorbing social media, then it becomes very hazardous and very destructive, because it's like, look at all these people doing all of these great things, which that's not even the case. It's highly curated, but it just seems as though everybody is like highly productive and just doing a whole bunch of stuff that you ain't doing. So I think what balanced that out is if you are actively doing something productively in your life that you feel good about, to whereas when you look at things, you could either celebrate it, so, and then you could curate your social media feeds. And I think that's most necessary, because like it was real crazy for me on Instagram. Like I was tuned into the app and I just see nothing but booty. Like soon as I cut it on, it just be girls twerking and all types of just booty. So I just kind of had to be like, all right, whenever I see booty, I'ma just unblock it, or I'ma just block it, because it's just like, I don't know, it just wasn't like something that I just wanted to see all the time. Like when I want to see booty, I just kind of want to see booty. I don't want it like thrust upon me, like just, once I click on Instagram. So it's just one of those things that you got to really take into your own hands to curate and control and base it upon a resonance field, and then also do things in the interim. Like it should never be a 24/7 social media diet. Like, you know what I'm saying? It should be a personal time where you just pour it into yourself, whether it's a project, whether it's a meditation, whether it's, creative things, whether it's a conversation, just something, you know what I'm saying, that you allow yourself to pour into. And yeah.
I appreciate that, man. So yeah, like you said, though, just change the frequency on the dial.
Yeah.
And I'll probably listen to Thriller today just to get just to get a better understanding of that. So and
yeah, I'm gonna have to read the lyrics because I don't even remember that part of the song, honestly.
I know. That's why I got to go back and listen to it. Like, change the frequency on the dial, and I'm like, but man, this is like cause see, this is the last thing I'm gonna get off the phone.
No, you good.
It's like A lot of people look at this and think that Mercury retrograde is like something to be afraid of. I mean, like, look at this shit, like, I don't want to see this, man. You know what I mean? Being able to get a better understanding of it, I think it gives you a better preparation for it, to be able to deal with it. Say, you know what, this is what happened during this retrograde. This is what I did, as opposed to being afraid of shit, though. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's kind of what I did with this video, and hopefully, like, I can only hope that a person can understand what I'm trying to say, and they, like, I've learned to, like, speak with extremes of my point, because a lot of times the extremes sound a little harsh and crude, but if I'm trying to walk a fence with trying to explain myself, then it's kind of like I'm confusing myself, I'm confusing the listener. So it's better, and I say this in the realm of just Mercury retrograde and Mercury being the planet of truth, is to stand on that square and say the thing that you need to say, and then just leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? And if a person have a problem with what you say, then, you know, that person got a problem with your personal truth, as it is constantly fluid and moving and things of that nature. Like, you know what I'm saying, it'd be a woman walking down the street, she might be the most beautiful woman I ever seen, you know, but she be like, you lying, or whatever the case may be. Like, nah, in this moment, you the beautifulest person that I ever seen before. You don't know, that could start a conversation, that could start into a marriage, you know, the whole life. But you just spoke in your truth, you just spoke in your randomness, spontaneity, you know, and that's kind of what I was trying to bring about in this conversation.
Yeah. So on my end, I share it with people who resonate with that, because a lot of people, you know, like I said, they want to focus on the bad, but shit, if you can get some good information out there, and I just share it on my end. So I appreciate the build, man. Everything you did, so.
Oh, no problem, man. Thank you. And God is within when it's starting. Don't call this line and expect me not to say nothing about God is within, Jazz.
Alright, man. That's all. I got it.
Alright, bro. No problem, man. Have a good one, bro. Like, everybody know me. Like, I'm that friend. Like, you can't just be like, I'm about to do something. I'll be like, hey, like, everybody that I talk to, like, if they got things that they working on or stuff that they be telling me, I got a good memory and real keen to that shit. I'll be like, so what about that book you was working on? People be mad. They be tight. Like, hey, Mystic, I thought you was cool, man. You ain't as cool as I thought you was, bro. You always be on me, bro. Like, pause. But, so J Artistry, Sapphire, they asked a question about Mercury being in retrograde in their natal chart, as well as Mercury being retrograde now. And it will also depend on the house that Mercury is retrograde in, because Mercury gives you a almost psychic ability tied into that particular house, a very intuitive nature. So if it's in the 11th house, that gives you a very intuitive nature towards friendships and social circles, and might want to do some marketing, and might want to do some research on marketing, or do something to that effect. But then also do the research on the house, and then understand that you got sort of like a particular edge in being spontaneous within that house. Whether it's in the 4th house, there's stuff that you can do in the actual home. Whether it's in the 2nd house, you can do some like forex trading, or cryptocurrency, or some gambling, or something to that effect. You got an intuitive nature in whatever house that Mercury is in, based upon it being an Aquarius and tapping into that electromagnetic field. So you can actually program yourself. If Mercury is going retrograde in a natal house, then it's kind of like that down period. So a down period or a maintenance period would be like when your phone is off and you cut it on, like I did today, and it'd be like, Apple has now uploaded 35.01. It's time to get a new phone now, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when your phone is off, things become to get downloaded and uploaded. So you have a real opportunity to program your electromagnetic field, and something that can help you and be like, where can I direct it, is really checking in on your house. So hopefully that answered the question, Sapphire and J Artistry. Yeah, go to those extremes, like, because if you have a conversation with people and you trying to keep it cordial and shit, then you might as well not even have a conversation, because if people can't take your truth, then they can't take you, and they won't allow you to be as psychic as you need to be. We got a caller. I'll be so excited when y'all call in, man. That's just real love. Shout out to Mary J.
There is one other participant in the conference. Please announce yourself.
You tapped in with the Hood Mystic. Who am I speaking with right now?
Mad Titan.
What's up, Mad Titan?
What's up, man?
Chilling, man. How you doing today?
I'm calling because reading the book, Astrology Explained. Like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey,
yeah,
can you do me a favor? Can you give me a review on Amazon? Like, even just what you said is good. I like it. That would really do me a favor, and it shows that you actually bought the book too. So that'll be good, man. I'm glad that you like it, man, because that's like my first book. You know, the other books was kind of like workbooks, so I kind of that's my first workbook. I mean, my first actual book. So I'm happy that you gave me that comment, because a lot of people don't really say much about that book, to be honest. So it's just kind of one of those things that I'm happy you said that.
Usually if I read a book, you know, I read it and then I fall off sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I'm reading, I'm like almost done for real. You know
For real. Did it make sense? Was it easy? Was it easy? Kind of like, did it make more sense about astrology and shit, and how like it could be easier to understand?
Yeah, because it breaks down like what the planets do, how everything, how it do, your birth date, and all that. And so it gives you everything. Just like when a person opens you, like if I read astrology, I'm just going straight to what Scorpio is.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the book, you like don't do that. Look at the broad picture. You see how everything affects you. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You look at it, I was like, yeah, I got to look at everything.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Man, that's a blessing, bro.
I appreciate the book, man.
Oh man, thank you for this comment, man, because that means a lot, man. It means a lot, man. How's your day going so far? No doubt, man. I appreciate you calling in, bro.
All right, man.
All right, man. But thank you. Shout out to Mad Titan. We got a little staticky, but yeah, man, he was basically saying he enjoyed Astrology Explained, and I was saying that's kind of my first book. You know, it wasn't a workbook, and I guess that's kind of me. That's building up confidence and things of that nature. But yeah, man, that's probably one of them books that I feel like people who have trouble with astrology could really start there. It's not a hard book, but then you get to own your astrology after reading it, and you don't have to rely on nobody telling you about astrology, because astrology is very personal. It ain't no personality trait that you read online, and it's a deeper thing, and it's a deeper conspiracy behind it. But might save that for a Truth is Stranger Than Fiction one day. But thanks for everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for listening, from Mad Titan to Jazz for giving us a call in, Sapphire, J Artistry, Green Heart Goddess, Danielle, thank you for keeping the conversation going, Empress Ioka, thank you guys for tuning in. See y'all guys tomorrow. We'll be talking about Mars, the planet of action, the planet of atomic energy. And yeah, we keeping this thing holistic and esoteric. See y'all on the flip side. Peace.